welcome everyone. It's another edition of International Soccer Break. This is the international edition where we'll cover all the games that sort of happened this weekend, but translate more to the national teams. There were some actually good games this weekend.
Oh, there's some great games. I loved watching today's Liverpool Arsenal game. It just reminded me of sometimes the Premier League is fantastic and it gives you these rivalries, and it was just a fun game. 2-2 late comeback.
And then there was a game yesterday, the Man City game, and which is also awesome in a different way. And let's start there. I got to ask you, so how good is this kid? How good is Haaland?
I've never seen a player with his combination of athleticism, speed, strength, and his intelligence. He's making excellent runs, and he just at such a young age, he's doing so much right. The ceiling is insanely high. I mean, he's going to break the record probably this year already, and I mean, it's shocking. I don't know that I've ever seen anyone this good.
Yeah, the only other play that kind of comes to mind, I don't mean from a technicality perspective, but I remember like Jan Koller was like a tour de force in the air. Drogba is also one that comes to mind. I mean,
I don't think
Jan
you could
Koller.
put. I don't
Yeah.
think you could put Jan Koller and Didier Drogba in the same sentence. I don't think that's allowed.
There was a
But
time when Jan Koller was extremely dangerous as a striker.
yeah, I mean, if he could stay on his feet, I mean, he had trouble, I think, like running in like a straight line. But yes, I mean, Jan Koller is a massive human being, and had scored a lot of goals. But I mean, Didier Drogba was, I think, a good comparison. I think Didier Drogba, who came on a bit later in his career, or really rose to prominence. So he take Didier Drogba and talk about a guy much younger doing insane things at such a young age. Haaland is something I've never seen before.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the goal he scored yesterday, what a phenomenal goal. The ball by Grealish is actually a little bit away from him, and he's able to contort his body. It's Ronaldo-esque.
Yeah, and then the first goal is so easy that he does these things that you're just like, the spectacular is almost just second nature to him. And the goal was fantastic, and he does spectacular things week in and week out. And then he does the simple things well too. He doesn't miss chances that often. I mean, and he, I don't know. It's not something the crazy thing for me is the ceiling is insanely high. This is just the beginning for him.
Yeah, he's going to break the record, right?
Oh yeah, he's breaking the record. He might break the record next week. Who knows?
Yeah. So, all right. So on that note, look, there's another great Norwegian player we saw that play this morning and with Odegaard. So based on that, why haven't we seen the success of this Norwegian team with these two kids running around?
Well, I think it's early. I think it's early still. And let's talk about Odegaard. I mean, he's a guy who came to Real Madrid and was young and was supposed to be the next big thing and kind of disappeared for a little bit. And now, I mean, he's captain of Arsenal. He's 24, I think. He's very young. He's captaining Arsenal. He's captain of Norway as well. He's a good player. I think it's coming. I think they will be a much better national team than they are. The question is, what's the next level? Are they going to be winning tournaments? I'm not sure about that, but the minimum, they need to start qualifying.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, they need to start qualifying first. And I watched their games actually this last international break. Obviously, Haaland wasn't there, but Odegaard was there. And there was a very poignant moment there where I saw Odegaard actually missed a chance against Georgia. And he was so distraught, and you could feel like sort of the weight of the shoulders of his country on him. And that was a bad result to compound another previous bad result against Spain.
Yeah, I think it's really hard. That's a good point you bring up. For these guys who are the superstars for their country, and where the rest of the roster isn't nearly as good, it's a lot of pressure. Because there's this feeling that if I don't do it for my team, nobody else is going to do it. I have to do it in order for us to win. And so that moment where he's so distraught after missing what really was a sitter, I mean, he's got that feeling like it's got to be me. It's got to be me or no one else. I see it a lot when I watch Mo Salah play for Egypt. This feeling of just intense pressure because he's got to be the guy to do it. It's a different kind of pressure. It's a different ball game to play for your national team, especially when you're the superstar.
I mean, in Norway's case, they need to qualify, though. And look, it hasn't started well. Scotland started very well in that group. Yeah. So it's very early, granted. Okay, there's only been 2 games, but, a loss to Spain, a tie against Georgia. Meanwhile, Scotland's already beaten Spain. top 2 teams make it, and then it gets dicey after that. You got to go through Nations League and all this kind of situation. It's not a great start.
No, it's not. I mean, you're already behind the 8 ball, right? Because Scotland's taking points off Spain. You now have to take points off of Scotland, who looks to be a very, very formidable team. And I'm not sure that we can say the same about Norway, or that they figured out how to play together. I think it's difficult. You can get 3rd place, right? You can get in, but you got to go through, like, it's the Nations League, or there's like a circuitous route, right?
So the thing is, though, as the more pressure mounts on Haaland, every time, he's going to play for his national team, there's going to be huge scrutiny, just like all these players have had it. And that's a different level of pressure.
No, absolutely. And the problem is, it's unfortunately the way the conversation works. And it's not fair, because it's not fair to talk about Erling Haaland has he won with Norway when Norway is nothing compared to a team like, let's say, looking at Messi with Argentina, or players, even some of the British players who are playing for the English national team, which is much more well-rounded team. It's an insane amount of pressure to put on one player to elevate a nation, but it's just the reality of the conversation that's going to happen. You're right.
Yeah, so that's a good place to finish with this. How much of a difference can one superstar make for a national team? This is almost like a case of like Ibra, for example.
Yeah, it's a good point. Ibra's the guy that comes to mind when I think of Haaland, right? Or I think of what the bad outcome in Haaland's case could be. Ibra, a guy who's, I mean, it's difficult to debate that he's one of the best players in recent memory.
Yeah.
The problem is he's done really nothing for Sweden.
Yeah, so I would agree. Yeah. I mean, compared, you look at the Swedish teams from the 90s, that Swedish team made the 1994 semifinal. They got 3rd place.
Right. So they've done better without him than they have with him.
Yeah. I mean, aside from his, like, I remember the back heel that he had against Italy, where I think Sweden and Denmark, I think that was actually a different tournament, but there were times when like Sweden and Denmark were able to eliminate Italy, and that was sort of the peak of their success, right? There wasn't much after that.
No, I mean, they were quarterfinalists in 18, right? And that was without him, right?
Yeah, so he wasn't there in that one either. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one player I think can take a team that is off the map, put them on the map, can take a team that isn't qualifying for tournaments, make them qualify for tournaments. That can happen. The best case scenario, I think, for a single player, forget about winning tournaments. That's insanely difficult. It's really the best case is having an iconic moment or run in a tournament for your country. Gareth Bale's a great example, right? Gareth Bale, a fantastic player. You'd have to say he's had success for Wales.
Yeah.
He hasn't won a tournament, but Wales is not expected to win a tournament, right? But he's had an amazing run in the Euros. He's done very well with this country. And you have to say he had a successful international career that we can't say the same about someone like Ibrahimovic. So the best case scenario is that someone like Haaland takes Norway on a run in a tournament or has a moment with the team, right? The Moroccan guy, Ziyech, and they have to feel that they've had their moment for their country. That's the best you can ask for.
Yeah, I think in his case, he just needs to qualify. That's step one. That's where it is. Yeah.
It's really hard to, it's really hard to win a tournament, right? I mean, Messi didn't win a continental tournament until he was, international tournament until he was what, 33?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think we need to talk about winning a tournament, especially with regard to Norway. I think what Odegaard and Haaland need to do is they first need to get to a tournament. I mean, Norway has been to tournaments before, just not with these guys. So,
I mean, they beat Spain, remember?
Yeah, they did. They had some success when they had players that were much less recognized. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. No, it's a good point. So they've done relatively well without him. I think Wales is the best comp. Can they do a Wales, basically?
Yeah, I agree, and arguably the team that Gareth Bale led had less, notable players. He had some couple guys who were
Aaron Ramsey, Odegaard, maybe.
Yeah. So okay, fair. I think you're right. I think that's a fairly good comp. But yeah, we'll just continue to see how these players perform and other players perform, and exciting Champions League week coming up this week. So we'll just kind of be there as always, bring you the best of international soccer. All things national teams. Enjoy soccer. See you guys next week.